to hear is amazing. In trading card games, stories are everywhere. Sometimes they're the stories written on the cards, of heroes and villains, of courage and magic. But there are also stories happening in the room where games are played, around the kitchen table between family and friends, or in giant convention centers. Because when we play, we're not just shuffling decks and dealing cards, we're building memories and writing little chapters of our own. But every now and then, a story comes along that reminds us why we play games, that reminds us what we're capable of, a story that reminds us what heart looks like, even when it's only 10 years old. Disney Lorcana is a trading card game. It's about 2 years old, and in that time, there have been many tournaments, some big and some small. The biggest official tournaments are called Disney Lorcana Challenges. They feature, on average, about 2,000 players, some of them with very lengthy and distinguished TCG backgrounds. And last season, these challenges were the initial stepping stones on the road to the very first World Championship that was held in July of 2025 at the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. And the very first winner was a player named Din Kang Pham, also known as DKP, a talented TCG player from Germany. This season, there are thousands of players looking to take his crown. And the road, in North America, basically starts at the Disney Lorcana Challenge in Milwaukee. So, in October 2025, Disney Lorcana players from around the world converged on Wisconsin. Nearly 2,000 players came to play, some of them the world's best. And among them, there were several young Illumineers, players willing to go toe-to-toe with competitors 4 times their age with TCG histories older than they are.
But day 2, how old are you, Bryce?
8.
That's so cool.
And I've been playing since set 1.
Set 1? Oh, hold on. Get a fist bump here. Awesome.
Aiden and his brother Blake were 2 of these young players. And this story is about Aiden. He's 10 years old, and his history with Disney Lorcana starts during the pandemic, when his family, like many families, decided to take up gaming to pass the time. And when Disney Lorcana came out, the family was intrigued and they voted, as a group, to give it a try. But before long, they were hooked, and the dining room became a permanent Disney Lorcana station, and the TCG became part of the daily routine.
Their entire dinner table has all of the different mats laid out at the table with decks everywhere so they can play at the drop of a hat. He'll be like, hey, I got time before school. Mom, let's play a game.
So this is our Lorcana room. This is where we just keep things set up so we don't have to find a new place to play every time. We have the format set up for all of us to play together.
Aiden and his brother took to the game naturally, but their skill wasn't pure talent. It was also dedication. Before school, they played a couple games, and after school, they played some more games. Aiden's father kept up with the meta reports and winning deck lists. Aiden's preferred deck? A list by the reigning world champion himself, DKP, his Maui Sharks list. But after several important cards in the list rotated out of legality in the core constructed format, Aiden was forced to switch. And of course, when you play Lorcana as a family, there are some other considerations that come into play when choosing which deck to run. After all, there's only so many Dumbos and Maui Half Sharks to go around. Some coordination is required. And so, going into Milwaukee, Aiden was playing an Amber Steel aggro deck, a deck that had performed very well in the current meta. Anchored by the Princess combination of Aurora into Tiana, it's an aggressive deck, but it takes skill to pilot, requiring the perfect amount of patience before going for the win. But coming into the tournament, Aiden wasn't trying to win at all, he just hoped to maybe make day 2. Doing that was a tall task. He needed to win 6 out of 8 games in a very competitive field. And so, with 6 wins on his mind, he started the game against a Blurple deck, the colloquial name for a deck of the Sapphire and Amethyst ink pair. He won that round, and then played an Amber Steel Mirror, which he also won. But in round 3, he ran into an Amber Emerald Dogs deck, and lost to a very unlucky top deck draw. You see, in this season of Disney Lorcana, there are very few cards that can do much against a wide board. That is, a board with a lot of characters in play. One of the only answers is a card called Under the Sea, a card that sends all of your opponent's smaller characters to the bottom of their deck. It's a card that people played mostly to counter Aiden's deck, and so it was a card that he hoped to avoid most of the day. And in round 3, his opponent drew in at just the right moment to cost Aiden that match. But Aiden clearly didn't let that get to hhim, because he went on to win his next 3 matches. So now Aiden's 5-1. He goes into the 7th round and loses his second match to another Blurple deck, and that makes him 5-2 going into the final round of the day. He needs to win this game to achieve his goal of making day 2. And in that must-win game, he runs into something a little strange, a slightly off-meta Emerald Steel deck. But in 3 games, Aiden comes out on top, going 6-2 and achieving his goal of making day 2, where he'll play another 4 rounds of Swiss. And if you asked him, a mission accomplished. Anything else at this point is just gravy.
I mean, I was 6-2, so I was like, yes, I got day 2, and I'm like, I don't even care if I lose my next matches because I got day 2, the 10,000 tickets, pretty sweet.
And it's no wonder that Aiden wasn't counting on advancing any further. You see, out of all the players that made day 2, only 32 will advance into the single elimination top cut. And to do that, basically players have to go 10-2, and even then, some players with that record won't make it. So at this point, to continue his tournament run, Aiden had to go undefeated on day 2 and then hope that his tiebreakers were good enough to get him in. And this is where things started to get a little crazy. Aiden went into day 2 and won his first game, and then his second, and then his third. So there we are going into round 12. Aiden is 9-2, as is his opponent, and both of them need to win this game if they want to keep playing. And Aiden, against an off-meta Ruby Amethyst deck, ends up taking the match in 3 games, becoming the youngest person ever to qualify for a continental championship in the game of Disney Lorcana. Going 10-2 is extremely difficult, with some of the world's best players in Milwaukee failing to do so. And so the top 32 would all be very challenging matches, with players who were performing at the top of their game that weekend and deck choices that had paid off for them. Every one of Aiden's matches from this point forward would be extremely difficult, and adding to the pressure, word had started to get around about this 10-year-old kid making a run for the trophy, and people were starting to hunt him down to meet him and to watch him play. But based on Aiden's demeanor, you wouldn't know that anything high pressure was going on.
So when I went there, I was like, okay, I got the Elsa mat, I already got the CCQ invite, I already got like everything I came for. So basically, if I lost, great. If I won, great.
So in the round of 32, Aiden played against Kane Marin and his Emerald Sapphire control deck, with people crowding around his table to watch. Now, this was a deck that Aiden had not played against all day. But he ended up splitting the first 2 games, and then won game 3 to move on to the top 16. And soon he learned who his opponent would be. The reigning world champion, DKP. Now, DKP is not only a fantastic Lorcana player, but someone Aiden had followed and looked up to. As I mentioned earlier, Aiden's favorite deck to play was DKP's Maui Shark List, a deck that DKP was famous for. And when the family visited Gen Con, a gaming convention in Indianapolis that year, they'd met DKP and asked him to sign a couple of Maui Half Sharks for Aiden's deck. So this was a true David and Goliath matchup. You know, if David idolized Goliath. When these two crossed paths at Gen Con, who would have thought that in just a few months they would be going head-to-head for one of the greatest prizes in all of Lorcana? The winner of their match would not only advance into the quarterfinals, but in a DLC, the top 8 players received a golden Mickey Mouse card, serialized to 500. It's a card worth thousands, and one of the most beautiful Lorcana cards ever created. One that most Disney Lorcana players dreamed of winning. And so, with that on the line, Aiden sat down to go toe-to-toe with the best player in the world. Attendees, enamored with Aiden's run, crowded around the match to watch, trying to follow the game as well as they could, wondering if the Cinderella story would continue.
You could cut the tension with a dingle hopper.
And after Aiden lost game 1, people realized it would be likely to end here, and so they wanted to catch a glimpse of it while they could. The Kid Wonder trying to take down a Titan. And when Aiden came back and won the next 2 games, this happened.
Good job, buddy. You deserve it, man. You played very well. You got it. That's the champ right there. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Aiden was facing like really bad odds because he was on the draw first, right? But he was like not showing any like signs of anxiousness or something. He just played like so. He played so well. Like it was. I can't even describe it. For a 10-year-old, I've never seen such a young player who played this with such confidence, and I couldn't see any misplays. He knew perfectly what he was doing. It's like he's 10 years old, but 10 years Lorcana experience. You know?
Apparently, this rapid and confident style of play is something that Aiden is known for in his community, something that his parents confirmed. What is it about him, do you think, that makes him so good at this game to be here competing with the world's best?
So he and his brother both play, and they practice a lot together and do the different things.
Right. Both of them really like strategy games, thinking about what you could have done better or what the different lines are, and he always wants to practice. Always.
If you ever watch him play, he plays incredibly fast. Like, play, like he knows what he's doing before and sometimes his motions don't catch up with what he's thinking to do.
He plans his turns so far ahead.
And he's actually on some streams for some of the locals we played and some of that.
And they've commented saying, okay, like the round is over. Like I think one time they went off air and then the game one had already ended and they were like, what just happened? He's just a very fast player.
That's awesome. One of the best parts of my day was seeing how proud Aiden's parents were of his performance, because this is also a story about family. A family that embraces Disney Lorcana together, and that shares in the heartbreak and the triumphs that every TCG brings. Just take a look at how excited Aiden's older brother Blake is during his interview before his top 8 match.
How are you feeling right now?
And so, 3 more victories from the trophy, Aiden prepared for his top 8 match. He would be playing against Dan Arnold, a fantastic player who performed incredibly well at every North American Championship last year, finally making his run into the top cut here.
Giant thing off my back to make day 2, period. Last year was rough, 3 bubbles, 5 win-and-ins in DLCs, so to get the win in round 7 to already day 2 was like already massive, so it feels really good.
People had to keep a distance, and so they got into position to stand on chairs, leveraging their phones, anything to catch a glimpse of how the game would progress. Once again, Aiden would be playing against an Emerald Amber Dogs deck, and it's board clearing under the sea.
Game 1, we played out a game, and I think he just kind of had it, in all honesty. You know, he just had the game. He had the strength when he needed it. He had, I believe in that game is the game he had the turn 2 Tiana, and it just flowed for him, and it went really well. And then game 2 was a pretty interesting game where I believe in the game he found 3 Fire the Cannons and 2 Strength of a Raging Fire. But he didn't have the character package to kind of back it up. So he ended up not getting a board because he had 5 actions and not the characters. You know, normally you only really want 1 in one of those. And then game 3, he's on the play. He has the game where I hit the first strength with the Ursula. So I was like, okay, I'm safe. And then he draws a card per turn, plays the Fire of the Cannons, plays a dock, and then off the dock draws the Strength of a Raging Fire. I think this game's over. He just presents check, and he's just draws the card off the top. He's in check. I think he's on 14 lore, and I'm literally basically the game is over. And the only card that I could possibly draw is Under the Sea. And I drew it. Oh my god. And you could see him the entire game. He is poised and he's really into it. And he knew the moment that he put me in check and he passed back to me, he put his head down. He's just in his own world. He's just no Under the Sea, and I win. I'm just going to be in the top 4. And the top card of my deck is Under the Sea. And the game just ends pretty much on the spot. So it was tight. He played incredibly well. He positioned himself in in the best possible way to win the game, and he just lost to a top deck. It's literally that simple.
He gave Dan a fist bump, the competitive gesture of a game well played and congratulations, and stepped back from the table. And it was in this moment, with the applause of attendees all around him, that the icy and calm exterior he had displayed all day cracked, and the emotion came pouring out. This was a moment that will be etched in Disney Lorcana history, and the people watching knew it. The aftermath was one of celebration. People wanted to meet him and his family, and DKP offered free coaching, and people around the world tried to soak up what had just happened. See, you can say it's just a card game, but grit, perseverance, talent, and a little bit of luck are a beautiful thing, no matter where they show themselves. And in this moment, Aiden had achieved one of the greatest things he could have achieved at the tournament and created a story that would last forever.
Starting off with a young man who has stolen the hearts of... Please welcome onto the stage, Aiden!
But this is also a story of community. You see, many of the people that Aiden and his family play Lorcana with week in and week out also travel to the event. And it was clear throughout both days how much Aiden's performance meant to them. But it also meant so much to the Lorcana community as a whole, because if Aiden could win despite his age, anyone who applied themselves could overcome anything and go toe-to-toe with the world's best. But perhaps it meant the most of all to the other young Illumineers who saw in Aiden someone they could emulate, because if Aiden could do it, so could they.
We didn't have a set line. Like, starting a new TCG, we didn't have that one kid who made it at first. We didn't have a kid to be like, we want to be them when we can do it. But having him get it kind of gives the kids of Lorcana, like, wow, we're not alone. We can do it too. Like, it gives us kind of that, like, power to be like, he beat DKP. He beat the world champion. Like, so maybe that one day we could too.
And just when we thought the story was over, there was one last surprise. Remember those golden Mickeys that are serialized to 500? Well, players are awarded one of them at random, and Aiden just so happened to pick number 11. Although he's just 10, his birthday is next month, in November, the 11th month of the year. It's almost as if the Lorcana cards themselves wanted to find some way to immortalize this incredible achievement. And after what I saw this weekend, I wouldn't be surprised.
What advice do you have to any other, young players looking to go to a tournament like this?
Just hope for the best, follow your dreams, and do all that corny stuff.
It's amazing.
And he has fun with it. He's still, that's the kid in him. He still sees it as fun, not as work. And so he has fun in every single game he plays.